I like you just the way you are, I say, quoting his favorite film, Blade Runner. It's one of our things, our special saying from the films we both love that are important to us. He taken me to see the director's cut after I told him I didn't like science fiction. He was determined to change my mind, and he did. Right. He leaps up from the sofa, his mood brighter, more hopeful after our little talk. It looks like it's going to rain, so should we stay in tonight? I glance out the doors. The sky is gray. The clouds bunched together in mutiny. We stayed in all 3 nights we've been here. Usually I love it, relaxing in the luxurious surroundings, eating off the pristine dining table that can easily sit 10, sipping wine from the chiller cabinet while darkness falls outside, turning the windows opqueen and making me feel as though there is no one else in the world but us. But for once, I fancy going out somewhere. We could drive to Port Scatchel. We're not explored the area yet, and it's the nearest town. He pulls a face. To be honest, I'm cankered. And do I need to catch up on a bit of work while I'm here? Why don't we just eat the food from the fridge? It's free. He grins. I could cook up those gourmet sausages if you want. The sell-by dates are still good on them. If you're tired, I cook. He shakes his head. You'll never let me do it. I did used to be quite good. Once. He takes his coat off and gathers mine from where I left it. Strong over the back of the chair, throwing me a look. I thought we were going to try and be tidy. I'll hang these up. He wanders out of the room. I'm frying the sausages when he returns. You're still thinking about that man, aren't you? He observes, watching me closely. You have that worried look on your face again. I consider lying, but then think better of it. What if he's broken in? He takes a deep breath. Fine, come on. Let's have a look around. Put your mind at rest, he says. I can see he's trying really hard to be patient, to humor me. I take the frying pan off the hob and put it on one side and let Jamie lead me upstairs, Ziggy at our heels. I follow him around the house, feeling a little foolish as he makes a great show of checking that all the windows and doors are secure. See, everything is locked, he says when we are back downstairs, standing in the hallway. Can we eat those sausages now? My eyes flicker to the door next to the kitchen. Does that lead to the basement? I think so. I raise an eyebrow. You want me looking in the basement? He asks in disbelief. We might as well. He laughs. Are you just being nosy now, Lives? You don't really think there's an intruder in the basement, do you? I shrug, non-committedly. I suddenly have this overwhelming need to look in Tiara and Philip's basement. It's the only part of the house we haven't seen. With a theatrical sigh, Jamie turns away from me and tries the door handle. He rattles it unnecessarily. It's locked. Now I'm even more intrigued. Why would they lock the basement, I tease? I march into the kitchen, remember the row of keys that hang from the metal holder attached to the wall by the fridge. I think this is it, I say, returning with a small single key. Jamie takes it from me and tries to lock. The door swings open. You first, I say as he takes a step over the threshold. A smell walks up to greet us, mellow and damp, making me realize that even though the house has been modernized to within an inch of its life, it's probably very old. There's something else too, pungent, like the slightly metallic smell of blood. Oh my God! I can taste it in the back of my throat. Girl, why did y'all open that? It was locked for a reason. I was trying not to say that. I cover my nose with my sleeve. Stone steps lead down to the cellar, and to Jamie's left, there is a light switch. He flicks it on. We both watch the room is illuminated by a bright ceiling light, like the sorts you get in the operating rooms. Ziggy busts against my leg, but I pull on his collar to keep him from going into the cellar. I gasp, my eyes blinking in the sudden brightness. Dots forming in front of my vision. The cellar looks like a crime scene. The room is square with a low ceiling and no windows. Set up in the middle of the stone floor is what looks like a mini operating room table. Latex gloves, a scalpel, a large serrated knife, and some kind of animal hide are strong haphazardly across it. Hanging up next to it is a rubber apron. Jamie screws up his nose while I try not to gag. It stinks in here, he says, his eyes going to a bucket in the corner. My stomach heaves at its contents. Is that, he goes, the innards? I breathe into my sleeve, trying to inhale the scent of cherry blossom fabric conditioner instead of blood and guts. I recall the stuffed animals upstairs. I assumed Philip had bought those hideous creatures. Ugh, he's a bloody taxidermist. You would have thought he'd tidy it away, knowing we were staying. It's pretty gross. But he descends the remaining steps anyway. His fascination with anything Mark beat winning out. He creeps over to the animal skin on the table, as though he's worried he'll spook it. It's dead. It's dead, Jay. It's not gonna bite. He swivels his body towards me and pokes out his tongue. Ziggy pushes past me and trots over to the bucket in the corner. Jamie grabs his collar. Oh, no, you don't, he says firmly. Then he turns back, peering down at the carcass on the operating table. I can't make it out. Is it a cat? God lives. I hope the animals didn't suffer. I tremble, still hovering on the steps. They would usually have been dead, unless Philip Haywood is a sort of animal serial killer. Don't even joke about it, says Jamie. Let's go, it's freaking me out. He indicates a large freezer in the corner. Do you think the animals are in there, ready to be worked on? He pulls the door open and something large in a plastic bag falls out onto the hard floor with a thud. Ziggy pulls away from Jamie to push at it with his nose. It's a badger. The plastic bag tied at his neck, as though it's been suffocated. I scream, making Ziggy's ears flatten against his head. Jay, put it back, please! I start to feel panic and claustrophobic, even though I'm only halfway down the stairs. I have visions of more animal corpses tumbling out of the freezer. Jamie picks up the bag and shoves it back, struggling with the effort. Then he hurries over to me, Ziggy at his heels. Sorry, sweetheart, but it's strangely fascinating, don't you think? Not really, no. But before Jamie can get to the stairs, he stumbles and his leg kicks against something, sending it scuttling into the middle of the room. It looks like a large metal suitcase. He stops to rub his leg, his eyes going to the case. My heart falls when I see it has piped his interest. Jay, come on, I call. Hold on. He's unclasping the clutches on the suitcase. Now you're the one being nosy, I say, trying to keep my voice light. But my body feels heavy with dread. What is he going to find now? The suitcase opens. I can hear Jamie sharp intake of breath. Oh my God, Lips. You never guess what they got here. Surveillance equipment. Cameras and shit. Looks bloody expensive kit. Wow. Why do they got all this? Who are they? No. What are they doing? Oh my goodness. What if he is what if Philip's a serial killer and he's like hunting people and then like he got the carcasses and stuff to cover up the fact that he killing people and skinning them alive and stuffing it and gutting them. Too much? Too soon? It's chapter 8, y'all. It's not too soon. It's not too soon. Well, page 69. It's not too soon to be go crazy like this. Do you think they're spies or something? Says Jamie as he locks the basement door. I'm feeling unsteady on my feet. We're not in some after-page TV drama, I say as I reheat the sausages. My stomach turning at the thought of eating anything after seeing those animal carcasses. My mind is working overtime. Why would the Haywoods have all that equipment? And why would they keep it here? It must be worth thousands. As I turn the sausages over in the pan, I look about me wildly. Are there cameras hidden around this room? Around this house? Are we being watched? You hear about things like this. Nanny cams so their parents can spy on the woman they're hired to care for their babies. And I once read in one of those True Life magazines about a woman whose landlord had deliberately hidden the camera in her bedroom and filmed her and her boyfriend having sex. No, Tiara wouldn't do that sort of thing. She's classy, beautiful. She's not sordid and cheap. But Philip, maybe he has some kind of fetish that she doesn't know about. Maybe he gets off on filming unsuspecting people in the shower in the loos. So, not Tiara, who's at home by herself with nothing to do, got all this free time on her hand. Not her. No, not her. Later that night, when we're getting ready for bed, I spent ages in the bathroom, examining their ornaments, the stuffed owl, the photograph on the wall for hidden cameras. Do you think they could be in the lights, I say, looking up at the spotlights in the ceiling? Jamie sighs. I'm sure they're not secret pervs. It's a bit weird, though, isn't it? Having all that stuff in the basement? Jamie steps out of his jeans and tosses them on the chair by the window. At least it's in the basement. Proof it's not being used. Why have they got that kind of stuff anyway? I went into the in-suite to use the loo. As I sit there and look at the shelves with a row of expensive candles, I notice something. Something long and thin with a hole at the end. I mistaken it earlier for an ornament. But what if it's something else? What if it's a camera and Philip is filming me on the loo? Jamie! I cry and he comes rushing into the bathroom. What? What is it? I point to the object. That. Up there on the shelf by the candles. What is it? Why can't you just get up and have a look yourself, he says grumpily. I thought something happened the way you cried out. I'm worried it's a camera. I can't get off the loo. I pull my fleecy PJs bottoms higher to try and cover myself from the camera spraying guy. Oh, for crying out loud. But he reaches up anyway and grabs it. Do you mean this? I nod. Oh, God, it's a camera, isn't it? He's probably been filming us having sex and in the showers and everything. It's disgusting. My face is burning. It's an air freshener, says Jamie. What? What? An air freshener. Here. He tosses it under my nose. It smells of lavender. Jamie rolls his eyes, but a smile tugs at his lips. I've never seen such a fancy air freshener. I laugh as Jamie reaches up and puts it back. He leaves the room, his shoulders shaking with mirth. He won't let me forget about it as I get into bed and cuddle up next to him. You wally, he sniggers. Honestly, Philip Haywood isn't some secret perv. Would you stop it now? Yes, I say, nuzzling against his chest. Good. Jamie claps twice and the room descends into total darkness. I'm nervous. I don't know. I'm a little scared. Maybe he is being watched. The next morning, I left Jamie and Ziggy sleeping peacefully. And heading to the kitchen to make myself a cup of tea. I stand at the door in my PJs, sipping my tea and feeling uplifted. There's nothing to worry about. Jamie's right. I can relax. In the distance, the sea glistens, and I watch as the flock of birds flies in a grateful formation toward the sun. It's worlds away from where I come from. We might never get the chance to stay in such a stunning house ever again. Oh, Tierra, you're so lucky to have all this. I move away from the doors and busy myself making toast, enjoying a little fancy in my head that this house is mine, that this is our way of life. How I'm ever going to return to my 2-bedroom flat and bath after experiencing this. It's already Wednesday. We only have 3 more days here. I glance around at the white walls, at the glass shelves, the bespoke cabinets. Nothing is out of place. It could be a photograph from a glossy magazine. When Jamie gets up, I persuade him to go into town and buy some flowers to sit on the island. I imagine something white and pure like lilies or roses. The house is deserves some frivolity. There must be a glass vase here somewhere. I think about lighting one of Tiara's expensive candles. Would she mind? Maybe she'll expect us to. She left them out after all. I go to the living room and pick out one from the mantelpiece. Then I return to the kitchen and rummage around in the drawers for a lighter. A small box of lighters is tucked back by the side of the knives and forks. I can tell the candle hasn't been used yet, but I light it anyway, and immediately the room fills with expensive scent. I open the bifrost doors. It has rained overnight, and the air smells as clean as freshly washed laundry. I retrieve my mug and sit at the garden table. The chair isn't completely dry, and I can feel the water seeping into the seat of my PJ's bottoms, but I'm determined to sit out here, to feel like I'm on holiday. I hear the scratch of Ziggy's paws on the tilted floor and turn to see him plodding through the kitchen. He plops himself next to me, his head in my lap. There's no sign of Jamie. Daddy can't still be asleep, I ask, while rubbing Ziggy's very ears. It's nearly 10:45. I expect Jamie is sitting cross-legged in the middle of the 4-poster bed, tapping away on his laptop, catching up on emails. He'll start to feel anxious if he's behind work, especially if he no longer has a boss to hurry him along. So you ain't gonna go check? Not wanting to disturb him, I stay in the garden, my eyes closed, the sun warm on my face, the sound of the waves crashing against the shore below. I can smell the sea from up here mingling with the candle's fragrance, and a faint trace of something else, a muskiness mixed with sweat. Then 2 things happen simultaneously. A twig cracks underfoot, and Ziggy barks. My eyes snap open just in time to see the back of someone disappear down the steps that lead from the garden to the beach. I stand up so quickly that my chair topples backwards. Oi! I shout. Has someone been watching me? I run across the lawn, Ziggy following me, barking manically, the damp grass soaking the hem of my PJ's trousers and my slippers. Fury makes me forget to worry for my safety. I peer over the gate. A man is making his way down the stairs. He looks different from the one yesterday, older, less stocky, and with skinny, bow legs. He has a flat cap pulled down over his forehead and is wearing a waxed jacket and jeans. He's holding a walking stick, although he looks fit and able. I still shocked by his audacity and can only watch as he scramples across the sand. I wonder what he's doing and where he's going. Is he using our garden as a cut through to the beach instead of walking farther down the road? Is he a neighbor? Why do strangers that around here feel like they can just wander onto someone's property? I wonder if it's because the house is empty half the time. I retreat into the house, shaking from adrenaline and shock. I race through the kitchen into the living room and up the glass stairs. Jamie is still fast asleep. Jamie! I shake him awake. It's nearly 11 a.m., now unheard of for Jamie to still be asleep at this time. His eyes open straight away and he sits up, looking about him in shock. What's going on? I feel him in through housing breaths. Maybe he's a neighbor. There's another house a quarter mile or so away. Ring Philip. He falls back against the pillows looking exhausted. Are you okay? Jamie normally an early riser. Even at weekends, he'll be up long before me, tinkering with his laptop off on Ziggy. He's untidy and disorganized, but he never likes lounging around in bed during the day. His hair is standing up on end. He has bags under his eyes and his skin is pale, with beads of sweat glistening on his forehead and dampening his fringe. I feel sick and groggy, like I got a hangover. My mouth feels like the bottom of a parrot's cage. Nice, I say. Then I frown. You didn't drink much last night. I touch his forehead. His skin feels hot and clammy under my fingers. My head is killing me. I'm going to stay here for a bit if you don't mind, Libs. He pulls the duvet up around his chin and turns over with a groan. Do you want me to get you anything? Painkillers? Water? I ask, son. He wants to know from under the covers, so I leave him to it, trying to ignore the anxious feeling in the pit of my stomach. I picked up my food last night, and I hadn't touched the sausage or the beers he'd been drinking. They'd been sealed straight from the fridge. I wonder if they'd been off. Or maybe he was coming down with a bug. I know Jamie for nearly 5 years, and all that time he has only been ill once after too much to drink. I return to the kitchen, pour some granola into a bowl, and perch on one of the bar stools to eat it. I try calling Philip, not expecting him to pick up, suspecting he's at the hospital with his daughter. As predicted, it goes straight to voicemail. I don't leave a message. Instead, I stare at the phone in my hand, debating whether I should have bothered him. I potter around the kitchen for a while. The quietness unnerving me, so I fiddle with the knobs on the radio again. I already tried to fathom out how it works, but I could never manage to tune into a station. And instead it emits white noise. Irritated, I turn it off. I have a view over the garden from the sink as I wash my mug, and as I glance up, my stomach flips. The same man as earlier is walking through our garden. I tap on the window with my knuckles, but he ignores me, strolling down the side of the house. I hurry to the front door just in time to see him round the corner of our driveway and head into the lane beyond. I call after him, but it's too late. He's gone. I'm furious as I head back into the kitchen, and I try Phyllis mobile again. This time, he picks up. Hello? He barks. He sounds irritated, as though my call has interrupted something important, at odds with the soft way he's spoken to me the other day. Philip Haywood, it's me. Libby Hall. I'm staying at your house? Libby! His voice immediately softens, although he seems distracted as he asks how things are going at the house. Great. And the image of the dead animals and his surveillance equipment flashes through my mind. I feel as though I know too much about him, as if I'm eavesdropping on an intimate conversation between him and his wife. What has he gleaned about us staying at our flat? That we can be so violently that we're not successful or rich in our lives. In fact, the opposite to theirs. I swallowed. It's just a man keeps coming into the garden. I think he's using it as access to the beach. I described the man. Oh, y'all. I'm sorry. From this morning, even though I'm not sure if it's the same man as yesterday. Oh, that's just Jim, a neighbor. Ignore him. He's a bit of an oddball, always looking for fossils or trying to spot marine life. He laughs. He keeps an eye on the place when we're not there, and we let him use our access, as he can't get to the beach from his burrow. He's not very good at minding his own business. He laughs again, but it sounds forced. I'm glad you called, actually. There's been a change of plan. He hesitates. My daughter's coming out of the hospital earlier than we expected. He sounds rushed now. There's an edge to his voice. I know it's great news. So we'll be going back to our place in London tonight. Tomorrow at least. I'll leave the key with your neighbor, shall I? London? I frowned to the phone. So why would they need to go to the Bath Hospital for a heart operation if they live in a huge city like London? I feel myself blush at the thought he actually can't wait to hot-foot it out of our flat. That must be a huge relief, I say. I'm so glad your daughter's getting better. I hope the flat's been okay. My uneasiness makes me gabble. Excellent, thanks. Great for the hospital. Please don't rush to leave our home, though. I'll arrange for the cleaners to come in on Saturday, so stay until then if you like. Just drop the key back at the portal station on your way home. Thanks again, Libby. He accumulates my name as though trying to get out, and then the phone goes dead. I stare at it, perplexed. Could his daughter really have made a miraculous recovery after life-saving operation? And if they leave our flat, how can we stay here? It's supposed to be a swap. Then it crossed my mind that he might be lying to me and has found somewhere more savage to go. That must be it. Otherwise, there's a lot that doesn't make any sense at all. No, there's a lot that doesn't make any sense at all, and I'm gonna need you to get out of his house. Man, it's weird. The child is recovered. She's healthy. I'm going to London now. Chapter 9. I'm relieved when Jamie says he doesn't want to leave. Because I don't either. Not really. I miss the house. I miss living like Tara. It's only Wednesday. Our agreement was until Saturday. I don't care that they want to go before then. That's their decision, he says from between the covers. He looks strangely feminine in the Haywoods four across the bed amongst all the white muslins, like some new romantic from the 1980s. It's a bit weird though, I asked, settling on the edge of the mattress. If we're still here when they are in our flat, it's not exactly a straightforward swap then, is it? I don't care, he groans. I'll feel really rubbish, Liz. Can you leave me in peace? He tugs to dump it up over his head so only the crop of hair fear post auto was hot. Charming, I say mildly, getting up and going to the dressing room. I never did unpack our suitcase, knowing my clothes will look shabby hung up next to towers like poor relations. I put a denim dress over my head and pushed my feet into a pair of Birkenstocks. When I leave the room, I make sure to close the door loudly behind me, annoyed that Jamie isn't planning to get up. Then a precious day of our holiday will be wasted. But by the time I reach the kitchen to give Ziggy his breakfast, guilt and the gnaws at my insides. Jamie is in the layabout. He must really feel unwell to still be in bed. The day stretches out in front of me, long and dull. We'll hardly spend any time alone since Jamie became a freelance consultant, and I ruined the day before worrying about intruders. I'm on my hands and knees rifling through that small stack of DVDs in a wicker box by the TV, thinking I'll kill 2 hours watching a film. But there's nothing I fancy that we haven't already seen before, and the others are fresh erotic or full-on horror. Not my kind of thing at all. I can make it. When I hear the clunk of the letterbox, I freeze, and Ziggy starts barking manically, charging toward the front door. I get up to follow. The postman would have been as a few envelopes dangle from the letterbox. All right, Ziggy, quiet down, I say, pushing past him to grab the post. There isn't much. A few flyers, one for a new restaurant opened up locally, and others for art fairs in the next town. There's also a glossy brochure from a Scandinavian company I've never heard of. I flickered through the pages. I went into the kitchen to sit at the dining room table and marched in the brochure. I want everything in it, the sofas, the dining tables, the chairs, but the prices are astronomical. I closed the book, feeling disappointed. Ziggy is turning circles in the kitchen, a sign he needs to loot. Come on, Zixter, let's go for a walk. I clapped the lead into his collar. I know Jamie doesn't like me taking Ziggy out by myself with one arm in the cast. Ziggy's lodging for a golden retriever, and it's more than strong enough to pull me over if he became startled. But let's go on this walk. I'm gonna go here. But the prospect of going for a walk on the lonely beach by myself is unbearable, and I feel an urgent need to get out of the house. As beautiful as it is, there is something unrelaxing about being in someone else's house with nothing to do but lie on that pristine sofa, worrying that even my body touching it will leave a mark. At home, I'm always busy, working, making papers, marking papers, writing reports, preparing lesson plans, washing, tidying, cooking, cleaning. I thought I love just being no demands upon my time, no interruptions, but, and I hate to admit it even to myself, I'm slightly bored. As weekend, Jamie and I usually take a stroll into Bath or along the canal. We browse the boutiques or galleries, gaze at the artwork that we can never afford. At home, we are always surrounded by people going about their daily lives, not necessarily interacting with us, but they are there. I never knew how lonely it would feel to be isolated. Maybe it reminds me too much of my childhood, stuck in that village with nobody but my father for company. I started to go out the front door instead of opening the bifolds up again, as I'm unsure how to lock them from outside. Now, you need to be good, I tell Ziggy in the starting verses we head out. No running off. I only got one good arm, remember? And you got to come back when I call you. Ziggy stands by my side, head cocked, looking at me with his brown eyes as though he can understand everything I'm saying. He probably can. The weather is unpredictable. One minute I can feel the sun on my back. The next the sky darkens and the temperature apparently drops. I feel a little apprehensive about seeing Jim lurking about and am relieved when there is no sign of him. As I descend the steps to the beach, I wonder idly where this Jim lives. I remember passing a few detached houses along the lane before we reached the hideaway the other day. I can see the backs of some of them from the beach, but they are few and far between, broken by green, vegetarian, and a jutted cliff's edge. Could it have been him who I seen watching us yesterday? And that's where we're going to leave that at. Wondering if Jim is the same man that was watching us. And what does he live?